Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. We have here a slideshow for our monthly workshop. This is all about different aspects of songwriting and singing. And our theme this month is harmony, a vital need for connection. So I'm happy those of us who are here, those of us who are watching on YouTube afterwards, welcome. Happy to have you at all times. And we're here most fourth Saturdays at 1 o'clock. Now, next month, I just want to make sure I tell everyone that we're going to be meeting a little later. We're going to be meeting at 4 o'clock Eastern instead of 1 o'clock if you're coming next month, in September. All right. So I wanted to share this beautiful song first. Let's stop a bit and tell you a bit about this song. It's on the original motion picture soundtrack for 3,000 Years of Longing, which just came out here. I saw it last night, and the vocalist here is Matteo Bocelli, who is Andrea Bocelli's son. All right, and it's beautiful. This has a beautiful melody. That was so beautiful. Did you like it, Dalila?
I loved it.
I loved it too. And one of the things I wanted to point to was that if you listen to the background instruments, there was an arpeggio going along in the background. And we'll talk about that some more, how sometimes we can use the arpeggios, and we'll see what an arpeggio is to put in the harmony in a song. Because it's not all the time that you want to harmonize the vocal. There's a normal sort of choir approach to a song where you have, the main melody, and then you may have an alto part, which is lower, or a sort of descant, what they call descant in church music. This is like a little higher part that runs along that harmonizes. So let's look at how those notes fit the underlying chord structure, or what kinds of notes fit the underlying chord structure. So here we have, for instance, if a melody sung over an A minor chord features the note A, you could harmonize by singing the note C, which is the minor third of the chord, or the note E, which is the fifth of the chord. And if I play this, you will hear it quite easily. So that's A, C, and E. That is the A minor chord. So if the melody has this note A, which is the root of the chord in it, you can harmonize by singing the note C, because that will sound good, or the note E. So those two chords, notes C and E, fit with the note A very well. And it's true for any chord that you have. The third and the fifth of the scale will generally harmonize. And we'll see in a minute why this is true. So let's look at this arpeggio pattern. Just a lady explaining, what an arpeggio is, and she's playing it for us. So let's listen to that.
Key of C. And for now, I just want you to get comfortable with the notes C, E, and G. And you don't even have to play them at the same time. Your left hand 5 finger can hit C, E, and G, and then your right hand C, E, and G. So let's do that again. C, E, G, C, E, G. Not so bad, right?
So that showed you someone playing the C, E, and G. And you can use that in your accompaniment, use it in different ways. And you don't have to do 1, 3, 5. You could do 1, 5, 3. You could start with the 5 and then do 1, 3, and do your own thing. But those notes will always, complement and harmonize, as long as you're using the ones that are in the chords that are being played, that fit in with the melody. So why is it that certain notes sound good when sung with others? In simplest terms, the sound waves of the consonant notes, notes that sound good together, fit together better than the sound waves of dissonant notes. And I'll show you a diagram in a minute. For example, if two notes are an octave apart, that's like middle C and the C above middle C are an octave apart. Let me play those. There'll be exactly two waves of one note for every one wave of the other note. So middle C will have, let's say, one wave, but when you play the C above middle C, the reason why it sounds higher is because there's two waves coming into your ear for every one wave of the lower note. Okay, so let's look at that. So sound waves travel about the same speed. Sound has a speed, the speed of sound. So waves with a shorter wavelength arrive at your ear more often than longer waves. So you see here the diagram showing the ear here, and these sound waves are coming towards the ear. And this one, because it's longer but traveling at the same speed, means for every one that reaches this ear, this other one looks like about 2 times. 2 of them is coming to this ear. So this might be a middle C, this might be a higher C. You don't have to know all the details of this. They call this frequency in engineering terminology, and engineers measure it in hertz. And we measure it really, I suppose, by naming the keys, the notes of the keyboard or the guitar strings. And people can hear sounds that range from about 20 hertz to about 17,000 hertz. Apart from that, you can't really hear them because it's either too low or too high to be called a sound wave. Then it becomes a different kind of wave. So that's it. Any questions about that?
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a screenshot from Acoustics for Music Theory, which you can find at earmaster.com. They have a free music theory course, and I highly recommend the app that they have. There's an app you can download on your phone or your computer, which will help you to practice singing. When you sing into it, it will tell you, you know, what you're singing, whether you're singing the right note or not, or how far you are from the right note. And also there's a free version. Let me move this out the way. There's a free version of the Airmaster app, and you can get a subscription also. I recommend a subscription. The free version is quite good too. It's only $5 a month or about $36 a year if you pay for the whole year. So I recommend that. Now, I mentioned earlier that some songs don't use vocal harmony at all. Instead, the other instruments harmonize with the vocal or the melody. And this is a great example. Most people know this song. It is Hotel California. Oh. And you'll see from the very beginning, listen very closely, and you'll hear the unique kind of arpeggios that they use. Remember, the lady was doing the very simple arpeggio? But they use arpeggios, but you listen, it's not the normal classical type of arpeggio, but it works very well in this song. Let's watch this. So this side is talking about harmonies on a single instrument. And, you know, it may seem like a single instrument doesn't have a lot of power and capability. We're used to hearing bands with a lot of different instruments and plus vocals. But really, there are people who have gotten so talented and expert at using their single instruments, such as a piano or the violin, that really, you know, you can have a complete song. You can have 10 minutes worth of just listening to beautiful music on one instrument. And you're definitely going to find you're using harmony, any instrument that can play more than one note at a time. Of course, there's some instruments that can't play more than one note at a time. But even your voice, if you train it, can play harmonics, which they call harmonics, which are additional notes that you can sing in addition to the main note that you're singing. So some people have gotten good at that. So you can even do it with your voice. But I mean, piano is the main one I can think of. Of course, the guitar and the violin as well. And some of the most beautiful, satisfying, and complex harmonic compositions are in the fugues. Bach is, I guess, the person who is most well known for composing fugues. A fugue is a contrapuntal composition in which a short melody or phrase is introduced by one part and successively taken up by others and developed by interweaving the parts. So a fugue can be played by more than one instrument, but Bach made these fugues for piano alone as well. A contrapuntal just means made from two or more independent melodic lines. So it gets complex. You start out with one melodic line, you bring in another one that complements it, that's harmonic with it, and then you bring in even another one, and you just keep playing those over and over again in different patterns. It's really beautiful. So I wanted to share a part of a longer fugue written by Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach. And here it is. I'm gonna shut up now with this and play it. All right, and this is just a small part. Don't know if you can see it, probably can't see it, but this is just a small part of a much longer piece. I think it's like 1 hour, and that's just a few minutes of it. That was the last slide. That was the last slide. So thank you for being here. It's time for us to go through our playlist. I can share the playlist and we see if we want to play any other songs on it. I have here the Beatles, Don't Let Me Down, Boys to Men, End of the Road, Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers, Islands in the Stream. We have already played Hotel California. Toto, Africa. Yes, Toto is a band that I really liked. Simon and Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence. Boston is a band, More Than a Feeling. New Kid in Town, The Eagles. Il Divo, Time to Say Goodbye. And I also have, if anybody wants to check this out, why classical harmony doesn't work anymore. I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment, but it's quite an interesting video about, you know, some research that they did into harmony and how it sounds, whether certain harmonies are required for modern music or not. And it turns out they're not really. They sound good. You don't have to use a classical harmony, but you must use some harmony. You can't go without harmony. It's like, that's why I was saying earlier on, you know, that song from 3,000 Years of Longing really spoke to me, because one of the lines in it, do we have a choice at all? You're in every singer's song. And although I know that is really talking about the love that they have, that is not something that you choose, that you everywhere you go, even when your lover is gone, you see them, you hear them in every song. But it's also true of harmony. It's something that we're just drawn to. Our ears crave it. You know, they talk about, I've seen a couple of videos recently where you have these sensory deprivation tanks, you know, where you go underwater and they put you in water, and it's supposed to relax you, and it helps certain people with certain conditions of anxiety. But being in there too long is not good, because without any sensory, no sound, no sight, no smell, no anything at all, it's like you're not really living, you know what I mean? So, I mean, even when we dream, we see things, we hear things in our dreams. So, yeah, I really love harmony and all the ways it manifests itself in songs. So Dalila, any of those songs that I was saying you want to hear?
Oh, did I hear time to say goodbye?
To say goodbye, Il Divo, yeah? You love it?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah.
Okay. And I think I'm going to start recording now because we won't be able to show this anyway in the video. So I'm going to stop the recording.